Morning. We're kicking it off with a little dream float, Lonnie New. And last night I was kind of working on a side project after some client work, and I realized that I kind of have a new flow with prior tools that we're all used to. So if you're not familiar with versioning control, pretty much everyone in the world uses Git, and then your remote repo can just be out in GitHub. So the way we interact with these tools in the past versus I think how we're programming today does slightly change. I'm going to go through the framework that I'm using right now, just consistently all day, every day, and it's pretty simple for me. So we'll just start off with this whiteboard here, and you're going to have your branches, and regardless of whatever branch you're working on, let's just say you got your main branch. The flow for me is pretty much the same. So let's say I'm working on a new feature. This is my new feature branch. One of the things that I'm going to do is, as I'm building any new feature, I have like a pretty well laid out document, and as far as what that's all going to look like, and like I've spoken about in the past, it's going to be really hitting on the whole database structure and how that's going to translate into the front end of things, for example. So pretty much I'll have, whenever I'm working with Cursor, Gemini 2.5 is super good at this, which is help me create a phase-in plan for this feature, because if you try to one-shot like a massive feature, it might work out for you, but it ends up just in Disasterville most of the time. So here's how I end up doing it. So far, I've never actually modified the phases that it suggests. Typically, I have to modify what those phases look like. It's often quite wrong, and so I need to go back and forth there. But here's how my versioning control looks like. And ultimately, why am I doing this? You want to avoid this doom loop hell that everyone keeps talking about. There's no reason to enter doom loop hell, and I'm going to show you how to actually use versioning control. So you just, the moment you think you're entering that, just bail, get out of there. So once I initiate Cursor to go ahead and implement, hey, here's phase one, then just go ahead and you're going to make a commit and push to your repo. And you'll have your commit hash, and you'll just do this down the line, right? This makes it so you don't have to try, and what I see a lot of people trying to do is depend on these checkpoints that Cursor will have. I've found personally that sometimes they're not reliable, or they don't. I haven't maybe I haven't just learned that part of Cursor yet, but I'd rather just have something that I know is tried and true and solid here. And you will revert and stuff like that in Cursor, but sometimes you can really make a mess of things, and it's just great to have good version control practices. One thing I should say is I'm a solo dev here and building for my clients, and so I never have to worry about merge and any of that kind of stuff, so it does make it easier. But in general, here's your flow. You're going to build a feature, and every time you complete a phase, you do your testing, whatever, go ahead and you commit that, right? And then you're going to be left with a commit hash. So at any given point, if let's say you just blow things up, I'm getting towards the end, things are looking really good, and now maybe I'm doing some UI cleanup and it's phase 4 and things are just falling apart, that's all right. What we'll do is we're going to do the following. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to use this line. In my case, I just created this is a side project, and here's I just created a demo branch. And before I started this video, I just kicked off I committed for phase 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see that right here in my README file. So if you put this line in, and in your case, you're going to just substitute, demo for whatever branch you're working on, it's going to give you the commit hashes for each one of these. okay, things were going really, really well. I realized like phase 3, I actually didn't accomplish what I needed to accomplish, or things didn't get implemented right. I need to just go back to phase 2, because remember, if we write, well, not us, but if Cursor's gonna like write 10 files and all this logic, blah, 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 you're not like committed to that, right? Like you don't have like any emotion around that code anymore, because we're just building so fast. So I realized, you know what? No bueno. So that's when we can just use this command, git reset hard, and we'll just go to phase 2 in our case. And this is the hash for phase 2. And then I can just do this. And now you're gonna see here on Cursor, this is what the end of phase 2 looked like. As we kind of all adopt, these new programming practices, I think just almost restarting with how any of us use these tools is a great way to pick up this new tooling really, really fast. And I'm pretty much building everything I do. You'll see in like my commits is like just this way. I just implement phases. Sometimes I'll have 6, 7, 8 phases, and I just commit after each one, and then just making sure you're really diligent about actually pushing and making that happen and actually pushing to your repo. But I just wanted to share this quick, easy framework for managing your versioning control while you're building with Cursor. It's been super helpful for me. I'm loving it. And whenever you feel like, oh, I'm getting into this doom loop hell, stop. Right? Like you should absolutely be disciplined enough to have a place where the software is in a good place. Just go back. And then the whole reason you enter doom loop hell is because you don't have a good prompt, right? Garbage in, garbage out. It means you need to work on the details of your prompt. You need to go back and forth, use something like a clarifications rule, like I've spoken about before, to make sure, you're putting in good quality prompts, and then you'll get back what you need. Because at this point, if things aren't working, if things aren't happening, I'm pretty convinced that's on you at this point, right? The AI is just so good. And so if you don't get what you want, if it's making a muffle of things, if it's blowing things up, that's because your prompt sucks. So with this version control is going to help you a ton. And just like, this is the framework I'm using. I'm loving it. I'm going to go ahead and actually crack onto some real work now. And I'll see you in the next vid. Like, subscribe. Peace.